Marley from the Energy Boutique with your energy forecast for Saturday, September 2nd. So the moon is going to be in Aries all day. Of course, we shifted into this Aries energy yesterday morning. It's definitely alleviated some of the weight, some of the pressure that many of us have been under since prior to that full moon in Pisces. That, of course, illuminated that weight and pressure very, very much so in our faces. This fire energy of Aries, of course, wants us to take action, wants us to act on impulse, on our urges, on our passions, on our desires, but it is recommended that we do not. Why is that, you may ask? Well, because we don't have a plan. We don't have a clear path. We don't have a strategy. And therefore, just to take action for the sake of taking action is absolutely going to mess up things. Put us on a different point of the path that we're absolutely going to have to go back and clean up before we're actually able to move forward. The moon in Aries gives us this boldness, this bravery, this optimism. We're very confident. We're looking forward. We've ripped the rear view mirror off. We don't want to really look back. We're starting fresh, and we feel that in our emotional realm. But now we're looking to actually see that particular energy manifest in our outer realm, which again, I am going to recommend that you do not force anything, you do not initiate anything, you do not push anything to happen. It will backfire, it will come back on you threefold, and it is going to slow your roll and slow your progress when we're gifted with the green light go ahead to actually move forward. Now, there are 10 different aspects here today. All 10 are involving the moon, which means that this is a moon day. Now, considering the fact that moon days provide us with an opportunity to emotionally refine and define our inner realms, on a Saturday that Saturn rules over, you best believe that we are breaking some emotions down, breaking some thoughts down, releasing them for good, and building something more encouraging and supportive in the place of the things that are no longer in alignment. Saturn energy focuses in on structures, foundations, routines, and especially where he is retrograde in Pisces energy, trying to collapse the old belief system, we definitely have an opportunity in our emotional awareness to do just that. So we kick the day off with the moon in Aries interacting with the sun in Virgo energy. The moon is very representative of the past, the sun very representative of the future, shining a bright light on what it is that we have to do. And in Virgo energy right now, we are trying to identify the problems in order for us to fix them. The moon in this Aries energy, again, has us all fired up. We're ready to move forward. We're ready to break away from the past. But the sun in this Virgo energy is saying, you know what? You don't have a plan. You don't have a strategy. You don't have a sweet clue what that first step moving forward is actually looking like. So why don't you just pace yourself, stand still, pay attention, and observe the hints, the clues, the emotions, the ideas that are coming up and washing over you so that you can actually step back, act as the observer, and see where it is that a plan and a strategy has to be put in place before you can take action and make any kind of moves. The moon is then going to interact with Pluto, the great transformer himself, who is retrograde in Capricorn energy, helping us to disassemble, deconstruct our shadow selves, our restrictions, our blockages, if you will, where old structures and foundations are holding us back. Now, this particular interaction is a positive one, which means that this is a huge emotional shift. A shift in mood, a shift in attitude, a shift in perspective, a shift in understanding, helping us to, again, free ourselves from some of the old, some of the, I'm going to say, heavier weight of energies of the past, and really put ourselves in a situation where we're bumping up, we're taking control, we're actually seeing where it is that we have the ability to use our tougher life lessons as a means of fuel, inspiration, and power. The moon in Aries is going to trine Venus. So Venus is the goddess of love, beauty, worth, pleasure, and money. She is currently retrograde, preparing to go direct here on the 3rd. Now, if you haven't listened to September's energy forecast as of yet, I'm going to recommend you do so. If you haven't downloaded your zodiac forecast for the month, I'm going to recommend that you do that. Venus is going to go direct, and we're definitely feeling the energy, the impulse, the edginess of that particular transit right now. Now, the moon in Aries trining with Venus, who is in the heart and soul of the zodiac in this Leo energy. It's a fire on fire action. So we are inspired, we are motivated, we are feeling that push and pull in order for us to break away from the old and rise in our feminine energy to take control, to do what is necessary, especially in our relationship dynamics, in our physical realm, in our long-term plans, and in our money matters. Now, again, we're not really in a place of taking action. However, contemplating the actions in which we plan on taking is the name of the game. The moon is then going to interact with Jupiter, the planet of growth, expansion, beliefs, abundance, and blessings, who is preparing to go retrograde on the 4th, right after Venus decides to go direct. Jupiter is saying, you know what? I need a timeout. I need to move inward. I need to be reflective for a second. So that is when he is going to move inward, internalizing that energy, giving us a huge option and opportunity to actually boss up, to grow, to mature from some of the changes, transformations that have already taken place, but mostly to integrate the wisdom, the knowledge that we've accumulated through trying to sort through the pros and cons of our current situation and trying to whittle out who and what needs to stay, needs to go. Now, the moon in Aries interacting with Jupiter in this way is definitely going to show us where it is that maybe we're biting off more than we can chew. Maybe we're conjuring up too big of a dream, too big of a vision that is a big gap, a huge distance from where it is that we're currently standing with this vibration, with this frequency, with this circumstance. Now, granted, we're going to be hyped up. We're going to feel confident. We're going to feel bold and brave and courageous, like we could take anything on and be successful at it. But again, please be cautiously aware that Jupiter tends to magnify, over-exaggerate our mood, our attitude, the possibilities, and again, biting off way more than we can chew. The moon then goes ahead and interacts with the sun in Virgo again. This time it is a beautiful energy, a beautiful interaction, which does suggest that we have actually identified where the path is going to begin for us, what that first baby step looks like, where it is that we're going to pour the time and energy into our here and now to break away from the old and actually plan and strategize a proper path, if you will, to help us move forward. Now, granted, the moon in this Aries energy just wants us fired up, wants us bold and brave and courageous, wants us acting on impulse, wants us really pushing our passions, our desires. The sun in Virgo going to help ground us out a little bit. It may feel a little bit conflicting because of this pick up and go fire energy that the moon is in. And of course, the earth energy that the sun is in this Virgo energy needs us to be grounded, needs us to be logical, practical in this present moment, really planning and strategizing how it is that we're moving away from where it is that we're at and how we're building the bridge to get us to where it is that we desire to be. The moon is then going to interact with Mercury. Mercury, of course, ruler of the mental plane, ruler of information, communication, and how it is that we express ourselves. Currently retrograde in its place of power in Virgo energy. This is why our head is all confused, all kerfuffled. This is why we have tunnel vision on all of the things that are wrong in our lives. Now, again, the moon being our heart space, Mercury being our head space, this particular interaction is going to show us where we're not on the same page, where we have options, possibilities, paths, and directions to get on the same page. But right now, our heart space wants something that our head space can't get in agreement with. Our heart and Aries energy wants to move forward, wants to cut off the cords of the past, wants to just blaze a path in a totally different direction. But of course, Mercury being retrograde is looking back. We can't move forward until we clean up the past. Even more than that, in the Virgo energy, we have to focus in on the smaller details of the choices and decisions that we made that got us in this particular place, that created this particular circumstance that we're now trying to break away from. This is about cleaning up the past before we have a clean slate, a clear path to actually move forward on. The moon in Aries going to semi-square, creating a little bit of a tension and conflict with Saturn. Saturn, of course, the Lord of Karma, ruling over roles, responsibilities, systems, foundations, and structures, who again is retrograde in this Piscean energy, helping us to collapse, dissect, and really disable the old belief systems. We're questioning everything. You should be questioning who it is that you are, who it is that you had to be, who it is that you desire to become, what it is that you believe in, what is real, what is not. There's a lot of questioning going on in order to collapse the old system of belief. Now, this particular interaction is definitely going to be felt in not the greatest way. Saturn moves in order to bring us down a couple of pegs. So all of this fire, all of this smoke, all of this eagerness and urge to actually move forward that the moon in Aries is kind of triggering within us, Saturn is coming in to say, you know what, you need to sit your sweet ass down. You have no plan, no strategy. All you're going to do is make a mess of things. You cannot build a house without floor plans. And many of us have a dream, have a vision on what that house is actually going to look like once it's all said and done, but haven't taken the time to look at the actual foundation of what needs to be brought to life, what needs to be built in order for that house to actually have a foundation to stand on. This is very much the same thing. This is definitely going to bring a little bit of a reality check to us so that we can kind of calm the ants in our pants and get a good focus on what it is that we actually have to construct, design, plan for before we go ahead and actually take action to move forward. The moon in Aries is going to come up to, conjunct, sit next to, team up with Chiron, the wounded healer, who is retrograde in this Aries energy. This is definitely going to show us where it is that there are some unresolved emotional issues, some unresolved, I'm going to say, mental narratives. Now, granted, we always, after a not so nice interaction with Saturn, we always kind of sit in the funk a little bit, but we need to understand what is pushing us to take action and make moves without a plan and a strategy. Why do we have a desire to win? Why do we have a desire to be first? Why do we have a desire to push ourselves in a path, in a direction that we have no clarity on, and really set ourselves up for another chapter, if you will, of self-sabotage? Really digging within that, really exploring those particular concepts, going to be hugely revealing. The moon is going to go ahead and interact with Mercury again, ruler of the mental plane. And what I love about this is that this is a positive interaction. This is an aha moment. This is an alignment between our heart and our head, an agreement between what we're thinking, what we're feeling. And realistically, let me give you a caution here. Even though it's a really good energy, it's a really good aspect, this is going to bring on a huge urge, a huge passion, a huge desire to just move the F on. We feel like we're ready. We're feeling like we're prepared. But here's the thing. We're very impatient. We have these ants in our pants that just don't want to settle down, don't want to calm down. We want to take action. But here's the thing, we haven't really let go of the elements of the past that will free us up to move forward freely. So this is putting us in a very interesting dynamic where we're starting to piece together what it is that we have to clean up, what it is that we have to create the space for, and what it is, as far as the plan and strategy goes, that is available to us to agree upon in the here and now without actually taking action upon it. The last aspect that we have here today is the moon in Aries making a positive interaction with Uranus, the great awakener, who is retrograde now in this Taurus energy. This is going to be a profound aha moment, a profound glimpse, vision, a little bit of a window, if you will, on what the path moving forward is actually trying to build towards. And of course, because Uranus wants us to change, but of course, being in that Taurus energy, very resistant to change, there is a reflection on what is still very alive and well in our physical realms that may create the blockage, may create the challenge for us to move forward because, again, we haven't resolved the issues of the past. Even more than that, this Uranian energy is trying to show us a different perspective, a different understanding that we may or may not actually click into. The energy to download us with that epiphany is there. Whether or not we can articulate it, put our finger on it, and understand it may need a little bit of time. So granted, this is the last day that Venus is going to go retro, or going to stay retrograde, should I say, as she prepares to go direct. So there's a lot of back and forth. There's all kinds of push and pull. There's all kinds of urges and desires that we are really having, that we're really sitting in, that we really have to kind of pace ourselves with. And of course, the Aries energy being ruled over by Mars really doesn't know how to manage the physical energy, the passion, the desire correctly. We have a tendency to kind of go balls to the walls, burn ourselves out long before we ever see a goal, long before we ever see anything come to an end. And so what I will say is that although there are a lot of positive aspects illuminating for us where we want change, where we want to take action, again, we're not really being supported in doing that. So give your physical body something to do, especially productive, clean up, rearranging, reorganizing, because we are in Virgo season, so that your body can be engaged in something to allow the mental plane and the heart space to kind of do their thing, to try and get in alignment. Keeping the physical body allows the higher forms of intellect to kind of move in such a way that we're not constantly allowing our ego to object to or to interfere with. So keep that physical body busy, open up your mind, open up your heart space, and pace yourself as far as your physical energy goes.